Yeah, still got it. Still got it.
Hey guys, it's Josh, and I am back for some more mentoring minutes. I'm here with Sandra. Sandra is one of my students here at the filmmaking school, and she's going to ask me 5 questions on anything. I've told my students, you guys get 5 questions. I'll answer them however I can as the expert, and we're going to get started right now. So Sandra, what you got for me?
Well, I guess my first one would be, we've already gone over this in class, but how would you go about setting up your business?
Okay, so setting up your business, it all starts with, getting your official name, deciding on what kind of, like if you want to be an LLC or an S Corp, or maybe you want to just be, maybe you don't want to set that up yet. I think the biggest thing is to start working on your audience. As a freelancer, you can start putting your ideas out there. You don't have to have a business right away. You can start gaining your audience and start gaining potential clients for later by just putting yourself out there and showing your work off online. Whether that be through social media or some sort of portfolio site. But I think just getting your stuff out there is probably the first step, because who knows, you might put your stuff out there and then realize that maybe that's not the direction you want to go, or people are saying maybe that's not the direction you should go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think just getting started is that. But there's lots of resources. Every state has a website on how to set up a business, and they have lots of learning tutorials that you can take. We've already talked about this, so you kind of know how to set up an LLC if you want to go that direction. But some people just may want to be a sole proprietor and not even worry about having a business and just do it, as a part of their own personal name and brand. So,
yeah.
What else you got?
My second one is kind of jumping off of that. So what do you think about sites like Fiverr and other freelancing sites?
Yeah, good question. So Fiverr and Upwork and some of those other sites, I think are great in some cases. There's a lot of people out there that could benefit from having a Fiverr designer. Maybe they don't have enough room on their staff for a full-time designer. Maybe they don't have, or video person or whatever, maybe they don't have the huge marketing budget. So I think for a new business, having access to these apps are vital. I personally am at the age and part of my life where I would never put myself on Fiverr to create, because it is like the, it's the Walmart, I don't want to say Walmart, but it's the big box, version. You're going to get the cheapest rates. You're going to get the cheapest price. And I'm not cheap, right? I value the work that I do and the time that I put in. So I wouldn't be caught on those sites. I think for a student trying out, you could put yourself out there to see if you could get some generating leads from that. But ultimately, I think there's a time and a place for Fiverr, and it's usually on brand new businesses where they don't have a lot of budget. Because you do have to micromanage people on Fiverr. I've sent some stuff to get done for a client before, and I realized that I chose the wrong person. They just didn't connect well with the brand that I needed done, or their design style wasn't exactly what I thought it was. So I only really use Fiverr if I'm generating blogs. I haven't gotten into the chat GPT yet, or the AI generated content or words. So I still have some good connections on Fiverr with people that are great at wordsmithing and writing blogs. And usually if it's a little off because of a language barrier or something, they've given me enough to work with that I can edit it and fix it and present it or post it to a website for my clients. So yeah.
How do you set up your prices? So you bring up a lot of big numbers, and personally, since I'm just starting out, I wouldn't go for that big.
Yeah, so
versus competitors, like.
I think when you're we've talked about a little bit of this stuff. So when you're pricing yourself, you really have to figure out where you are, with your competitors. I think that doing some research with even locally who has similar skills as you do. It could be a business, it could be other entrepreneurs or freelancers, but getting a gauge of kind of what the local demographic will be willing to pay is a good start. And then from there, adjusting based on your skills. Like if you feel like you offer something else that somebody else doesn't, or a certain skill, or maybe it's just you do something faster than somebody, then you could start raising your prices. But I think that, just exploring what's happening locally. So when you put yourself out there, you're not the cheapest. You don't want to ever be the cheapest, right? But you also don't want to be the most expensive. It's just a give and take, and adjusting your prices as you feel like. If you're not getting any clients coming in and you have your prices out there, you're probably priced too high, right? For your skill or ability. But if you have more clients coming to you than you can keep up with, it probably means that you're too low. So you just got to find that good middle ground.
And then my next question is, how do you keep your work and your home life separate, especially with all the social media these days?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I have 4 kids, and I have a wife and 4 dogs and a cat, and I have a busy outside of work life. So I limit my time on the things that I'm doing. So if I'm doing stuff on social media, I have a hard stop at 6 o'clock. I'm not doing anything else on social media. Or if I'm, we all get sucked into these TikToks and Instagram reels where it's an endless scroll, and maybe we're researching for a topic, and next we're just sucked in. The algorithm knows how to suck us in. So I think just being able to set a timer for yourself and saying, I'm only gonna research on this app for 30 minutes. And then I tell my Alexa, hey, Alexa, give me a 30-minute timer. And when I hear that timer, my phone's off, it's down. I'm done doing my research. I got sucked in, I went down rabbit holes, but I was able to pull myself out and not getting stuck for hours and hours, getting looped into that stuff. So I think just setting boundaries with yourself is super important, and keeping those boundaries, like I said, not working after a certain time. I don't touch my laptop on the weekends anymore, because I want to spend time with kids and play some video games or whatever that I enjoy. So yeah, just set those boundaries and then follow them.
Yeah, speaking of boundaries, how do you set boundaries with creative limits for a client, just to make sure you don't get micromanaged too much?
Yeah, so micromanaging is a huge problem in our world, okay? Because I think a lot of owners think that even though I'm hiring a designer or an animator or a filmmaker, they want to control the creative as much as possible. And I think those are clients that you don't necessarily want to work for, because they're not experimental. They're not willing to release the reins for you as the expert that they hired to go into your creative process and create something that they haven't thought about yet. So I think that having those conversations up front in the initial meeting, saying, hey, this is my process. I know that, and even saying, I know a lot of clients like to be, work hand in hand with people, and that's not my style. So if you want me to give you the fullest creativity I can, like, here's my process. And just setting them up for it in the beginning is the best way to do it, so you don't get micromanaged. And as they start overstepping those boundaries, you can revert back to that original conversation. Like, hey, when we first started talking, I remember we had this conversation about micromanaging and things like that. And by you hovering the way you are, it's not allowing me to, or by you jumping in every 5 minutes and giving me feedback, it's setting us back on a deadline, or you're not going to end up getting the creative that you're paying me for. You're going to end up getting the creative you think you want, and I'm going a different direction. That's why you brought me in, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
5 questions down, guys. All right, it's been a great time with Sandra here. Thank you guys for joining us for another Mentoring Minutes. I'm Josh Meow. Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah.
We'll see ya. Cut.